Reorganization by Bill Harris. Were you here? Okay. But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about that because, see, right now, you have your brain or your current reality is a system that's doing its best to maintain itself. Okay. When she mentions cognitive dissonance, Bill Harris calls it reaching your threshold. But anytime, and it doesn't have to just be me, it can be anybody. Anytime anybody says something and you feel uncomfortable, then it's contradicting your current reality. See, you are, and it's not like you have many thresholds in a sense, because there's not just one thing that brings you to your total. It's just there are some things that bring you to your threshold, which means, now, you know what threshold in the dictionary actually means? I looked it up. It's a doorway to another room. It's also the edge. It's defined as the edge. So, see, to reach your threshold, you've reached the edge of that boundary. You've reached the edge of reality for you. In other words, what this person is saying is not predefined in your reality, and you're at the edge. Doesn't include it. Doesn't fit. So you're feeling real uncomfortable, and that's normal. I want you to understand that. Everybody does when something's like that. But in chaos theory, what's cool about chaos theory is Prigogine, I think is his name, but he's the one that discovered all this. Closed systems, when they have chaos introduced to them, they collapse, fall apart, can even die. And the example of an engine, car engine, is a closed system. So if you put something that doesn't belong in there, like sugar, what's going to happen? It's going to die. It's going to tear it up. But higher evolved systems that have consciousness or that are part of this universe, they actually evolve to, but chaos enters, and then they become greater and at a higher level existence. And he described, remember, a seed as an example. What if the seed decided to fight coming out of the shell? It would be a closed system, wouldn't it? What would happen to the seed? If it comes out, is it still a seed? No, it's changed form now. It's a higher existence. But there's chaos that causes that. Doesn't the seed have to break up? Doesn't a total different reality have to occur? Now, okay. Now, when I throw something into your reality that starts your chaos going, you have a choice. It's called a bifurcation point in science, in chaos theory. It's a bifurcation point. You have a choice of infinite number of realities after that. Fork in the road. Or you can choose to close and resist and stay in your current reality. And eventually you will die there. Remember what I said earlier? Everybody wants to change, but they don't want to change a thing. They want things to change, but they don't want to change a thing. Doesn't it make sense that your current reality has gotten you what you have right now? So why do you want to stay there? Why would you want to stay if your current reality is getting you what you have right now?
So darn comfortable.
That's the point. Yes. And it's safe. It's safe. Now here's why. Isn't your current reality something you are familiar and you know? The next one is something that you don't know. So your fear is, what will it be if I let go of this one? Well, if you look at chaos theory, this is what's cool about this. It's always better. The higher next reality is always, never fails, better. So why would you resist? No, it's guaranteed in the discovery of the science. You're telling me the plant's not better than the seed?
Because it doesn't take away anything away.
It's not taking
from what
away.
already
Yeah.
is there. It's just adding to it.
Yes. It's just adding to. What you do, let me finish my thought and then you remember yours, okay? You still got it? Okay. So what you're doing then is your current reality then adjusts and changes to now include. Your boundaries have expanded, see? So now you're at a higher level, and let me remind you something too. You're never done. See, go ahead.
It's kind of like when you get a new pair. You're trying to get a new pair of shoes, but you know they're going to get cut and at first, but then you break them again, and then you're like, wow, I love my new pair of shoes.
Yeah. At first there's some discomfort. Yes.
I mean, I was total chaos. And I thought, I tried to analyze that later. I had been married since I was 18, and I was married for 27 years. I literally thought I was going to die if I was not. And apparently I did. The person that I thought I was did.
It was going to die.
Yeah.
Yes. There was going to be a death.
Yeah, and there was a birth.
But not a death
From
of
that.
you,
Right.
the real you,
Right.
but the death of a concept of you.
Right.
See, that's what you got to get about everything that's in there right now. Right now that you have in here, all the stuff. They are all just created concepts. And they are not permanent. And they are not the rules that are going to make you happy. You might feel safe. They might be the rules and definitions that make you safe right now and comfortable, but not to make you happy. Do you know what? There are none that make you happy. That's the illusion. We are looking for absolutes so we can guarantee the next day to be joyful. Or I'm going to make these rules and I'm going to make everything fit. Then I know and I'm in control. It's going to be okay. But then it's not, and we don't have control, and it's not okay because it's not the way it works. It doesn't work that way. That's why you're so frustrated. That's why everyone is so unhappy. You define your rules and then it can't be. So, you know why? Because there are no rules. There are none except that you create. And as soon as you create those rules, then you are subject to them. They have to work for you to be happy. So, you've defined your reality, and for your reality to be happy, everything has to work your way. Think about that. Isn't that right? Yeah, everything's got to go your way for you to be happy because this is the way you've defined it. And that's what we're talking about. So. Now, here's what I believe is the key, and I've talked about this before on the duality tape, but this is, you can tell how old I am. I'm saying tape instead of CD. We don't use tapes anymore, do we? We use CDs. And this next thing I'm going to read to you has to do with this. We have a subconscious need for absolutes. That's the problem. A subconscious need for absolutes. See? Because why? It's something we can feel safe and anchor ourselves and hold on to. See? But you know where those exist? You didn't have any before you were born. Huh? No. Because you were everything. And why would you need to have anything when you're everything? You don't need any absolutes. You are the absolute. See? But that's the problem. We have a subconscious need for absolute. So when something shakes up, now here's the part though. Okay, let's get to the good part. This is my story back when I was 18. Up until I was 18, I was not living in conscious awareness. I was caught up in my reality that my parents trained me in, that my experiences trained me in. And you all know the story. I told it Thursday night about my church situation, what happened. What made me start questioning? What made me start being open to a higher evolvement and leave my current reality? The story, I've told the story before, it's about the communion thing. I had blindly believed because the preacher said, as oft as you gather, do this in remembrance of me, and I took his word for it and condemned people to hell for it. He did, I did, my family would. Everybody in church believed you're going to hell if you didn't take it, because the Bible said that. And then when I read it for myself, remember, it doesn't say that. It says, as oft as you do this. We even have it on we had it on the table, the communion table. It doesn't say as oft as you gather. And, everybody that's heard that scripture, I've yet to have any group be able to tell me what it really says. They all think it says that too. 20 years later, I go back to my mom's church to sing a song for Mother's Day. This is 20 years later. I'm 40 years old, 40s. In a different church, and I hear the preacher stand up and get ready to take communion. He goes, we're doing this because it says in the Bible, as often as we gather. Heard another one say the same thing. And why are people in that state? Because you've believed what someone else has told you to believe. And you started in your mother's womb doing that. The only reason you believe what you believe right now is not because you searched it out. Not because you questioned and said, okay, I want to find out for myself. And I'm willing to let go of it if it's not the truth. No, we didn't do that. We just stayed in the loop. And I was even taught as growing up in my family, you don't question authority. You just do what the authority tells you to do. Be a good little boy. Don't cause any problems. And I thought I was being a good boy for doing that. Well, what was happening to me? I was being defined, wasn't I? And then here's what happened. I read the Bible for myself. It doesn't say that. Major chaos. Everything I had absolute, I had grabbed onto as an absolute, was beginning to shift. And as I say in the seminar or on the intro, what was the next thing that came to my mind? What else? What else am I holding on to that's an absolute that isn't true? Now that was this is when you have these little epiphanies, that's when you start leaving your current reality. Or you can be, I still could have gone back. Yeah. I could have said, well, I could have justified it. See, this is what a lot of people do. They still justify the experience. They still say, but this is what I've been taught. Tradition. Blood's thicker than water. My family's always believed this way. I'll always believe this way. And so will my kids. They better.
And it's not that it's wrong. It's just that it's not.
Yeah. Well, but nothing is wrong. It's just an experience. That's the point. But the people teaching you this says this is the way, though. This is the absolute. And you know what? Absolute is the problem. There are none. The only absolute is the energy. Everything else is being changed. So, do you know what? My life has not stopped having epiphanies. And I have been living this chaos theory. Even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I had the epiphany about duality and separateness being an illusion. People want to reject that because they don't want to let go of this separate being that I am. I'm separate from my body. See? Then they lose their identity. See? They have no identity. Wait a minute, who am I? If I'm not me. Who am I? Who do I become? Well, it's like her death experience. Jesus taught, they all taught this. Paul, Jesus, if you really want to enter the kingdom, you got to die. And you're not talking about a physical death. Paul said it, and I don't nothing against the ladies, but it's the way it says in the Bible, it means person. The inner man grows as the outer man slowly dies. It's in Corinthians. The inner true being becomes as the outer one dies. But it's got to die. I even have a song that the first original song we did was my group revival.